Nancy, as this news happens, just as we are right here live on air in Northport, Florida, searching the home again. There's so much to ask you. Let's just get your take on what they might be looking for at the home.
Well, number one, with all of the press and citizens outside the home, how did Laundrie get out and nobody noticed? That place has been staked out 24/7. Did he really go to Carlton Reserve? Why do we believe that, other than that's what the parents said? I don't understand how the car could have left with him in it, and then the parents bring it back, and nobody sees any of this happening. I'm also very concerned about the condition in which Gabby was found, her remains. Was she buried? Was she at the bottom of a ravine? Was she attacked by animals? Did she die from the elements? Because if Gabby was buried, then she was murdered. That's what I need to find out.
So the autopsy will be done tomorrow. And I understand, they have to wait a little while. The police seem to feel pretty sure about this, so no doubt the family is very devastated. Interestingly, in this case, Nancy, these bloggers are looking back through their video, their travel video. These are civilians, and they see the van, and then they look, and a little bit closer, they see the hat that was also in other photographs that we had of the van or video. Then they see sandals that seem to match the ones that Gabby had. So they were critically important to getting to this point where the FBI was able to find the body.
Yes, and I don't want to be too hard on them not finding the body earlier, because this is a huge, thousands and thousands of acres. And remember, they were in dispersed camping, which means they're not where the laundry or the porta potties or the trash is. They're beyond that, way off the grid. And I just say thank God that a blogger saw that and posted it, or another camper, because that really helped them hone in. But the nature of the discovery of the body is going to be critical. They had up a tent, so you couldn't really see what is going on. But back to Laundrie, I'm suspicious, was he ever even in Carlton Reserve? And here's something else for you to think about. Has anybody seen him at all since he got home on September 1? How long has he really been gone? Remember, the parents wouldn't let the cops in the home. They wouldn't let them see Laundrie. They wouldn't let them see Laundrie or talk to him. Has he been gone this whole time?
I have Trace, go ahead with your question, and then I'll follow up.
I was just curious because, Nancy, Trace Gallagher, I think I'm fascinated by the whole thing. And people forget that, that Gabby Petito actually lived in this house with the Laundrie family before they went on this 5-month thing. So he comes home on September 1st, and there's no questions. Where's Gabby for 10 days until the family finally, decides to report her missing. But the question in all of this, you made a very good point. There had to be eyes on this house. Maybe they couldn't talk to the guy because of his constitutional rights. Maybe they couldn't have a warrant to get all the electronics, but there had to be eyes on this house, and it's very difficult to believe that Brian Laundrie, with the help of his parents or not, just decided to go to some reserve and take a hike while nobody saw him leave in and out. It just doesn't make sense. And then you're right, the car going back and forth is weird.
Yeah, how do you miss that? I'm curious, are there cameras at Carlton Reserve? Because I've been to a lot of hiking spots, and there are no cameras. It's a bunch of trees. They don't have surveillance video on it. It's nature. So if there's not surveillance cameras, then that's a problem. But how about in the neighborhood? Could you see him driving in and out on Ring doorbells? Was it even him, or has he been gone since September 1, and have the parents been covering for him?
Well, Nancy, you think back to last week when Laundrie's sister did an interview with Good Morning America, and she said that she had not been allowed to see him either, right?
Right, because was he not there? I mean, you have to think back. Number one, establish your timeline. We don't even have a timeline because nobody can say, other than the parents, that they have seen Brian Laundrie. Why?
Well, go ahead, Trace.
Nancy, you've covered a lot of this stuff, and I know you look at this scene and you're wondering, why is the FBI there now? Why is the FBI going back in the house? What are they looking for now? Have they exhausted the search for the Carlton Reserve? And what's next? What did they believe the parents are not telling them? The parents did not cooperate at all, nor did Brian Laundrie, and now suddenly the FBI is on the premises. They are scouring this house. What information have they gleaned, maybe from the other side of the country in Wyoming, more about the condition of Gabby Petito's body, but what have they gleaned that's making them present themselves to the House right now, in your estimation?
It could be a matter of getting the necessary warrants. I believe they could have gotten the warrants way back when, but maybe they know more than we do. I'm sure that they do. I think warrants should have been gotten on the parents, their phones, their emails, their texts, the works, to find out where she was. But now that her body has been found, this whole thing is a whole nother can of worms, because we're talking about now a potential homicide. And I'm telling you, what they found out there may have led them to believe she didn't die of natural causes. This is a homicide, and now they're trying to get all that, let's just say their laptops, their iPads, everything, even their Alexa. What was said in the home, that could be gotten pursuant to warrant. Think.
Nancy, the other thing that happened is we found out that he hitchhiked at one point and was picked up. And the woman, Miranda, who was on Good Morning America today, who picked him up, said that he, when they said they were going to Jackson, he got agitated and wanted to get out of the car. What might investigators glean from that?
And did get out of the car, and he didn't just get out of the car, he got out of the car to hitch a different ride. He didn't want to go anywhere near Jackson, and this is what I find very critical about that. He had said he and Gabby had been sleeping on a tarp, that's not all that uncommon, because you usually put a tarp underneath your tent, but sleeping on a tarp out on the Snake River. Miranda, the TikTok girl, says he was clean, he didn't smell bad, he looked freshly showered. How is that when you've been out on a tarp on the Snake River? Where had he really been, and why didn't he want to get close to Jackson, near where Gabby was found?
I think one of the key parts of this investigation right now is you talk about Carlton Reserve, and for context and people who don't know the area and don't know anything about that, you're talking about 83 some miles of hiking trails in and around that reserve. And what they're saying now is, you know what, there's a belief that he's not there. So he's somewhere else, and somebody, if he is somewhere else, somebody in that house knows where or has an inkling of where that somewhere else might be. I think is that a proper assessment in your view, Nancy?
I think you're right, and I also think that you'll have to pull their fingernails off before they say anything else about their son. And I also think that's why, as you accurately pointed out earlier, the sister wasn't allowed to see him, because either A, he wasn't there, or B, they didn't want her to have knowledge that could put her under a cloud of suspicion. So I think what they found out in Wyoming made them believe this could be a homicide, and it's taken on an entirely different character, and that's why the feds are on their doorstep in their home right now. That's what you don't want.